In recent years, construction incidents in China have been constantly exposed. The foundation of official propaganda has been torn apart like a myth. Building collapses, station collapses, road cave-ins, bridge failures, and even floors in residential homes falling apart continue to emerge. Newly delivered buildings begin to deteriorate shortly after handover. Poor sound insulation, defective decoration, and missing infrastructure are common. Especially for homeowners, the experience of inspecting their homes feels like an endless nightmare. In mainland China, the housing market has long claimed that commercial housing would be delivered in perfect condition. But in reality, those promises are repeatedly broken. This house has only been installed for 1 year, and it has already become like this. Oh my God, how did it turn into this? Everything is falling apart. I spent more than 2 million yuan to buy a house. I thought I bought a home, but I didn't expect it to be nothing more than an empty shell. There is water leakage, cracks, hollow ceilings, and holes everywhere. When we eat, pieces of the wall fall into the bowl. The walls are covered with powder and crumble at a touch. I just want to ask which department can actually do something for ordinary people. This was knocked down next door, and it collapsed immediately. This is all stone dust. Everyone, take a look. I can wipe it clean with one hand. Do you see it? This is too dangerous. Even during decoration, the mason's work is careless and rushed. It is too dangerous, far too dangerous. What is a tofu-dreg project? Today, you will truly understand. Let's watch this example. In Ningxiang City, Hunan Province, besides the glamorous appearance, there are many tall buildings like this. My first reaction is, no wonder many people online say these buildings can't withstand wind or fire. There is a reason. Look at the steel bars in this building. What is this? The cement is already cracked. Who would dare to live in a house like this? Everything is just superficial. If this collapses with such height, can anyone survive? Oh my God, even the door frame is unstable. From buildings to roads, from bridges to dams, a series of problems reflect deeper systemic issues. Policies are often driven by interest groups, and in actual implementation, supervision becomes ineffective or absent. When faced with resistance, protests, and continuous incidents, the response is often not to solve the root problem, but to suppress those who raise it. All of this contributes to a broader collapse in construction quality. In fact, bridge collapses in China are not isolated incidents. For example, in Sichuan province, the Haozihe Bridge collapsed, and in Qinghai province, a Yellow River Bridge section broke apart. Some netizens say that so-called T-frame bridges represent a high standard in bridge engineering, requiring the highest level of construction quality and technical precision, and should not easily collapse. Yet multiple such accidents have occurred. In the industry, there is even an unspoken rule: cut costs wherever possible. Some companies prioritize reducing material costs to ensure project delivery, which continuously increases quality risks. Oversight is often weak, and there is little real accountability. Look at the quality of this residential community. This is supposed to be a high-end development, yet everything is in this condition. When a construction team dismantled an old bridge, they found that as they drilled into the steel and concrete, sand kept flowing out. The inside of the bridge, which should have been reinforced with solid materials, was instead filled with loose sand and debris. There were gaps of 5 centimeters, even 20 centimeters. This is completely unacceptable. If this video had not been exposed, many people would not believe it. If even structural components can be replaced with inferior substitutes, what else would they not dare to do? Many countries do not loudly promote slogans about quality power, yet their buildings, factories, and products maintain high standards. If China wants to move away from this crisis of collapsing quality, it must address the deeper structural issues behind it. Protecting the basic rights of the people and preserving the values of its long-standing civilization may be part of that path forward. What makes these tofu-dreg projects even more alarming is not just their poor quality, but the scale of danger they create for ordinary people. Entire families live inside buildings that may not withstand heavy rain, strong winds, or even daily use. Roads can suddenly collapse beneath passing vehicles, turning routine travel into life-threatening risk. Bridges that should last decades fail within a few years, putting countless lives in danger. These are not isolated defects, but systemic failures. When construction becomes a gamble, every citizen becomes an unwitting participant. The consequences are not theoretical, they are immediate and real. The root of this crisis often traces back to corruption and profit-driven shortcuts. Funds allocated for materials are siphoned off, replaced with cheaper and unsafe substitutes. Layers of subcontracting create opportunities for responsibility to be diluted and accountability to disappear. Inspection processes are sometimes reduced to mere formalities, with approvals granted without real verification. In such an environment, safety becomes secondary to speed and profit. What should be a solid structure turns into a fragile facade, and the cost of that corruption is ultimately paid by the public. The economic consequences are equally severe. Homeowners invest their life savings into properties that rapidly lose value due to structural defects. Repair costs continue to pile up, often without any compensation or support. In many cases, residents are forced to abandon unsafe homes while still paying off mortgages. This creates a cycle of financial stress and long-term instability. Instead of building wealth through property ownership, people find themselves trapped in depreciating assets. The promise of security turns into a burden. Social trust is also deeply affected by these failures. When people can no longer trust the safety of their homes, roads, or public infrastructure, confidence in institutions begins to erode. Complaints and protests arise, but responses are often delayed or ineffective. Over time, frustration builds into a sense of helplessness. Citizens start to question whether anyone is truly responsible for protecting their safety. This erosion of trust can have long-lasting impacts on social stability. It is not just about buildings, it is about belief in the system itself. Environmental and resource waste is another hidden cost of tofu-dreg construction. Projects that fail prematurely require demolition, reconstruction, and additional resource consumption. This leads to unnecessary waste of materials, energy, and labor. Instead of sustainable development, it creates a cycle of build, collapse, and rebuild. The environmental burden continues to grow while the quality remains unchanged. Such practices contradict the idea of long-term planning and responsible development. Ultimately, the persistence of tofu-dreg projects reflects a deeper structural issue that goes beyond construction alone. It highlights how short-term gains are prioritized over long-term safety and quality. Without strict accountability, transparent oversight, and genuine enforcement of standards, these problems will continue to repeat. The danger is not only in the buildings themselves, but in the system that allows them to exist. Until that changes, the risks will remain embedded in everyday life. In conclusion, tofu-dreg construction is not just a technical failure, but a warning sign of deeper systemic imbalance. When safety standards are compromised for profit, the consequences accumulate silently until they erupt into visible disasters. Every collapsed road, every cracked wall, and every failed bridge is evidence of decisions made long before the incident occurred. These are preventable outcomes, not accidents. If the underlying incentives remain unchanged, the cycle will only continue. Real change requires confronting the root causes, not just repairing the surface damage. Otherwise, the same tragedies will repeat in different forms. At its core, this issue is about responsibility and accountability. A society cannot sustain long-term stability if basic infrastructure cannot be trusted. People should not have to question whether their homes are safe or whether the roads beneath them will hold. The solution is not more slogans, but stricter enforcement, transparency, and consequences for those who cut corners. Without that, no amount of development can guarantee safety. In the end, true progress is measured not by how fast things are built, but by how long they last and how well they protect human life. That's all for today. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this with your friends.